Yo guys, what is going on? Today we're going to be UVing inside of Cinema 4D. Now you will need body paint for this, so go up to your layouts and go to BP UV edit. This is where we're going to do the magic. Now the way Cinema 4D and body paint actually UV things is, it's kind of similar to my previous tutorial with headers UV layout, where you create seams and then you flatten it out. It's the same principle with Cinema 4D. But it asks you to actually make your seams in the viewport and then go over to the UV texture and then flatten it out. So that's what we're going to do today. So we've got an object here. It's nothing fantastic. It's just an object that you might come across, just complex shapes. And you want this to be laid out so you can actually paint your textures and stuff on. And that's cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to define our seams first. So what you want to do is obviously be in this layout, which is the BPUV edit. We're going to go to the objects down here. We're going to click on that object. Then we're going to go to the top here and make sure we have geometry edge selection on. And this will allow us to make selections, and this is where the seams will be. Now to make things a little easier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use U and L, and that's going to give me the loop selection. And I'm going to basically make a loop selection across these edges here, all the way across, and that's going to go all the way around our border, which is fantastic. Now what I'm going to do is we need to define these cuts. So what we have so far is we're saying I want you to cut across this highlighted edge and then give us the UVs. So what it's going to do is it's going to give us this entire side section as one UV and the opposite side as one UV. Now what we're left with is UVs running down the middle on the outside and in the inside here. So we have to define these as well. So what we're going to do is the same thing. This can be a little bit tricky, so let's just get a decent view and hold shift and click. So we add to the selection and just make sure we have all that selected, which we do, and do the same on the opposite side. There we go. So what we want to do now is, because these are actually wrapping round and they're connecting, so they're going a full circle, so from here is connected all the way around to the top to here. So what we have to do is actually define a little cut in here, and you want to add it somewhere where there's actually you're not really going to see, so somewhere really small, like here for example. So I'm going to go to the live selection tool, hold down shift and just click that edge there. So that means this middle part will be cut here, so when it actually flattens out it will be cut here so it can actually flatten out. Same on here. What we're going to do is we're going to go down underneath here, and we're also going to add another selection there. So doing the exact same thing to the outside, and that should be fine for now. So what you want to do is go to the UV polygon selection tool. The UV tools are actually demonstrated by the checkerboard, so click on that, click on one, and then use Control A to select all of these. Go down here to the UV mapping section and click on projection, and then use a frontal projection. That's going to basically give us all of the polygons, the UV polygons selected. So it doesn't matter which angle you project these from, it will project whatever your viewport camera is looking at. So it really doesn't matter. If you could go to a side view, it might make it a little easier for you, like that. And then all you want to do is go to relax UVs, and this is where the important part comes in. You want to make sure pin to neighbors is checked on. You want to make sure cut selected edges is checked on, and that's going to use the edges here that we have selected as the cut points. Make sure you're using LSCM, and you can use auto align if you so wish, and then just hit apply, and that's going to basically give us an unwrap. So we've got the two edges here, well, this front face, we've got this back face, and we've got this front angle here, and of course the inner angle that goes round. Now to select these a little bit easier, in your viewport for your UVs, hold down Alt, click and drag, and that'll select the UV island here in your viewport. So we can see that this is, well, a little bit on an angle, so let's rotate it round to somewhat a straight degree, and we can see that the 1 is actually in the correct orientation, and so is the E. Now sometimes you might have it like this, but it's flipped back to front. So you use these tools up here, mirror U, which flips it left to right, and mirror V, which is up and down basically. So you need to make sure these are actually in the correct orientation. So again, go to the live selection tool, hold down Alt and drag, and we can actually see here what we have. So I'm going to rotate this around just to get it a little bit straight. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the straighter the better. I'm going to move it slightly in the UV space so I can actually see the letters. And we can see here that we actually need to bring it up, and we also need to flip it the U as well. So these are actually all lining up, which is great. So this side here, go back to the live selection tool. So that's the wrong side, so it's this side. So this one is actually looking really, really good. We can zoom in a little bit and just make sure we get this line a little bit more straighter. Perhaps something like that. And this is actually correct. The numbers are actually in the right order and right direction. However, on this side, we may have to just give it a little bit of an adjustment. So let's rotate it around on this axis and just try get it as straight as possible again. Now this is where Cinema 4D does kind of lack the tools. You don't have any like straightening tools to straighten these up, which is a little bit annoying, but you deal with it. So there we go. So all we need to do now is move this over slightly, like so, and we can grab the edges here and just maybe bring these in slightly, like so, and we'll do the same here for this one, and just bring this down here like so. Then what we can do is we can go to optimal mapping, go to realign, make sure preserve orientation is checked, make sure equalize island size is checked, and you can give it a spacing. The default is 2%, I like to give it 5%. Hit apply, and it's going to remap them for you. It's going to use the space as best as its ability, and it's just going to pack them really nice and neatly for you, which is really, really good. So now that you have your UV map, if you want to make sure you have the right texture dimension here, you can just go to File, New Texture, make sure it's 1020 4x1024, and then hit OK, and it'll put them UVs in here. Now if you want to render these lines out so you can actually take it into Photoshop and give it a bit of a makeover, all you do is go to Layers. You want to create a new layer. You can name it if you wish. For this tutorial I'm not gonna. Go over to the paintbrush tool, which is this icon over here, and in the attributes manager you just want to change the brush size from 10 to 1 and hit enter, and then you can actually go to UVs, show UVs, and then you can go to image. I think it's image, actually it might be selection. It's under here somewhere, I forget which one it is, it's under layer, there we go. So you want to outline the polygons, but it's grayed out at the minute. So what you have to do is go to the polygon selection tool, select all of these, and then go back to layer, and then use outline polygons. And then that's going to basically give you an outline of all of your lines. So you can, you basically, this is just to get an accurate representation of where the edges are. You're not going to get the fine details in here, such as there's 3 lines here, but with the actual shading thing we just did, the outline, it actually just acts as 1 line, because the program doesn't have a smaller brush size than 1. You can't go to 0.1 because it just won't let you. So that's one limitation with this, but as long as you can get a decent outline of this, then that's fine. And then all you want to do to save this is just go to File, Save Texture As, and you can save it as a TIFF, I normally go to Photoshop PSD, that way it opens in Photoshop straight away, and you know, it's got all these layers inside of Photoshop as well, so you can just adjust it the way you want. And that is pretty much how you UV inside of Cinema 4D. It does take a lot longer, but using this method you get some really nice results. All of the polygons and whatnot are going to be equally spaced out in UV space, so you're not going to get any stretching. The other thing that you need to hide is the seams, but if you actually start painting inside of here with body paint, you can actually hide the seams quite well. But that's all down to experience with using this application. So if I just bring my brush size up a little bit, maybe to 10, and give it a different colour, something like this, and let's actually bring this up a little bit more, and we can paint on here, and we can kind of give this a seamless look, which is pretty cool. Now we might not see it in here, and the reason we're not seeing it in here is because we need to go to the material, and this already has the material on, so all you need to do is just delete that material, and then we want to apply this material. Now I'm not quite sure how we actually apply this. I think it's the untitled TIFF here that we've got to basically use. So if I can go to my materials, I don't think I have it here. I guess you would just bring this in when you save it. So if we just go to File, Save As, and we'll just save it as the Photoshop document, click OK, save it on my desktop as untitled.psd. We're going to go back to my original setup, and then we'll create a new texture, and we'll bring in the untitled, and then here we go, we've got it all here. So all we do is turn off specular just for now, and then we can apply that to this and delete the old one, and you can see that it looks pretty good. Now if you want to see the lines in the viewport a little bit clearer, go to editor and change the texture preview size from default to something like 1K, and you'll see everything in the viewport a little bit more clearly, and obviously when you render it out you'll see it in its full glory. So that's pretty much what you do, and we can just go back to the UV mode, go back to layers, and we can just make sure we select this, and we want to go to show UVs, and we want to use the same texture. I'm not sure which one it is, so I guess open texture, and it will be that. There we go. So we've opened this texture up, and then we can continue painting now. So if we want to just change the colour to something like a little bit of a different blue, and just start painting, and we can paint the inside here, and then we can zoom in a little bit, and perhaps we can just darken this colour up a little bit and give it a little bit of a dark tinge on perhaps one of the sides like this, and maybe give it a little bit of a highlight. And of course this is just all down to the way you want to do this. So let me do 20, and that's actually a bit too much, let's do 5. I can give this a really nice highlight in the middle, and then if I go in the viewport you can see it actually updates here, which is really cool. And of course you can just go to render and then render view, and you can render it out, and that's pretty much what you want to do. So guys, thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will catch you in the next tutorial. Peace.